Caitlin Clark has already flipped women's basketball upside down, but now her future contract with the Indiana Fever is creating an even bigger storm. This isn't just another sports story. It's a seismic event that could force the WNBA to rewrite its entire playbook. Reports are flooding in that the Fever are working behind the scenes on a groundbreaking deal, something so bold it could change the league forever. Clark's rookie salary sits at a shocking $76,000, barely a drop compared to what she's really worth. Yet she's generating more attention, more money, and more fans than entire franchises combined. One rookie, fresh out of college, responsible for over 26% of all WNBA activity this season. Her games alone drove nearly half the league's broadcast viewership, and her jerseys can't even stay on shelves long enough to restock. She isn't just a player. She's a phenomenon. And the Fever know they cannot afford to let her slip away. That's why insiders say they're scrambling to structure a deal that goes far beyond the standard rookie contract. They're reportedly exploring everything from performance bonuses to unique endorsement tie-ins to potential revenue-sharing agreements that would give Clark a cut of what she actually brings to the team. This is completely unprecedented in the WNBA. But here's the problem. The league's outdated collective bargaining agreement is acting like a brick wall. The current CBA, signed years before anyone like Caitlin Clark existed, caps rookie salaries and sets strict limits on compensation. Even if the Fever wanted to pay her what she deserves, they legally can't. At most, she could make around $241,000 under current rules, a figure that looks laughable when compared to the millions her name alone is pulling into the sport. This is where the cracks in the system start to show. The Fever's leadership knows Clark is worth far more than the CBA allows. Indianapolis as a city knows it too. Just her presence has pumped an estimated $36 million into the local economy: restaurants, hotels, ticket sales, merchandise. She is essentially hosting a Final Four every week just by stepping on the court. Yet her paycheck doesn't even come close to reflecting that reality. Put it into perspective, Victor Wembanyama, the NBA's top draft pick in 2024, made $113 million in his rookie year alone. That's nearly 40 times what Clark will make across her entire 4-year rookie contract. The comparison is brutal and impossible to ignore. The timing couldn't be more crucial because the current WNBA CBA expires in 2025. That means the Fever have a tiny window to either push for systemic change or risk losing Clark to other opportunities. And make no mistake, she has options. Europe, Asia, and other international leagues already pay top WNBA talent far more than what the league offers. Players like Diana Taurasi and Breanna Stewart have long balanced WNBA seasons with overseas contracts that dwarf their domestic salaries. If the WNBA can't find a way to reward Clark appropriately, it's only a matter of time before she considers those alternatives. And that would be catastrophic. Not just for the Fever. Not just for Indianapolis, but for the entire WNBA. The league is standing at a crossroads. On one side, there's the old way of doing business: low salaries, capped contracts, outdated rules designed to keep costs predictable. On the other side, there's the new reality Caitlin Clark has created: a booming market, record-shattering viewership, ticket sales through the roof, and mainstream media finally paying attention. The question is whether the WNBA is willing to adapt. If it doesn't, it risks squandering the once-in-a-lifetime momentum Clark has built. If it does, it could transform women's basketball into a thriving, profitable powerhouse for the first time in history. What makes this even more fascinating is that Clark herself hasn't said much publicly. She's focused on her game, letting the numbers speak for themselves. But she knows her value. She knows she's the reason 300,000 fans showed up to Fever games this season. She knows her jersey is the league's bestseller. She knows she boosted league-wide TV viewership by 300%. She doesn't need to demand change. Her performance is the demand. And that's why the Fever are moving aggressively behind the scenes. Rumors suggest they're pitching creative incentives, even discussing long-term equity in the team. Imagine that, Caitlin Clark not just playing for the Fever but owning a piece of them. That would be revolutionary, but it would also require league-wide approval. And the WNBA has not always been quick to embrace big, risky change. What happens in the next few years will define the league's future. If the Fever can lock Clark into a deal that matches her value, it will prove women's basketball can finally reward its stars at a level that makes sense. If they fail, it will send a chilling message to every player that even the brightest star can't escape the league's restrictive system. The fallout would be devastating. Losing Clark would be more than a bad headline. It would be the ultimate confirmation that the WNBA still can't compete financially, even when it has the biggest draw in its history. Sponsors would start to question their investment. Networks might hesitate to renew broadcast deals. And fans, the same fans who have rallied around Clark, might lose faith. The Fever know all of this, which is why they're exhausting every possible option. They are treating this contract like a do-or-die moment for the franchise. And in many ways, that's exactly what it is. For Indiana, keeping Clark isn't just about winning games. It's about protecting their identity, their financial stability, and their connection to fans who see Clark as a symbol of what women's basketball can be. But for the WNBA, this situation is about survival. Clark's story is forcing the league to confront its outdated structures, to finally acknowledge that players like her deserve compensation that reflects their impact. This isn't just about one contract. It's about rewriting the future of the sport. Caitlin Clark's journey is exposing the gap between potential and reality. She has shown the world that women's basketball can command attention on the same scale as men's sports. She has proven that fans will tune in, that tickets will sell out, that merchandise will fly off shelves. The numbers are undeniable. Yet the system designed to pay her hasn't caught up. It's a collision of immense talent and antiquated rules, and the outcome will shape the WNBA for decades. If the league rises to the challenge, it could enter a new golden era. If it doesn't, it could lose the player who had the power to save it. One thing is certain: Clark holds the cards. The Fever can prepare proposals. The league can weigh its options. The sponsors can line up. But at the end of the day, it will be Caitlin Clark who decides where her future lies. And right now, the Fever and the WNBA are racing against the clock to make sure she chooses to stay. This isn't just business as usual. This is history in the making. Caitlin Clark is more than a rookie. She's a movement. A revolution. And whether the WNBA is ready or not, the game will never be the same again.